mood, baby.
We in here, yeah, we in here. 'Cause we been
Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here.
Black versus the Board of Education.
'Cause we came here, rid of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here. 'Cause we came here, rid of us now. And you know that we won't ever go here. Because we been here.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
One time, where are my air horns?
Bow, 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 bow. I was waiting for the screen to load.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to another Monday of Black versus the Board of Education. My name is Miss Laureen, and of course, I am the captain of the ship. And we're just going to get into it because we got some unfinished business addressing the defunding of LAUSD's Black Student Achievement Program. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but we're going to give you a whole earful because I know my co-host has a lot of opinions about it. Additionally, it's 10/28. That means Halloween is coming up, and we got some ghouls and goblins coming out the woodworks. I don't know what the hell is going on with all these election cycles. People, the most ridiculous people seem to come out of the woodworks. I done seen some church folks acting a fool. I done seen some regular folks acting a fool. And before anybody ever asked me, no, I am not voting for Donald Trump, but I am not voting for Kamala either, because I believe that politics is an exchange. It is not a gift. I don't owe you my vote. You earn my vote. And being Black is just not enough because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So with that being said, I'm going to let y'all know who's in the building, and I'm going to start with my virtual baby first. And I did see your text that you text me. It seems like there's some folks on Berkeley's campus behaving badly, and apparently there's a thing called Black privilege.
What?
So go ahead and introduce yourself, Mama, and we'll kick it to everybody else and we'll get into the discussion today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa, and I'm a freshman at UC Berkeley, and we have a lot to talk about today. I'm very excited.
Girl, every week is some foolishness. I'm adding a word to your dictionary there, Fox. I'm just adding things as we go. But since I done already called your name, go ahead and introduce yourself.
How y'all doing? I'm Fox.
You the Fox?
The Fox.
The Fox. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling a lot of different ways.
And you feeling like you want to put your mouth on that microphone so everybody can hear you, right?
I don't know where it actually
Just
goes.
pull it down just a little bit. You know, it's all good. We just want to make sure that we hear you. Hey, sitting right next to you is a beautiful young lady. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Lady.
Hey, y'all. It's Mariah.
Now, Mariah, she wants you to believe that she is super innocent, but Mariah is like quite a firecracker.
For sure.
And I hope that I can light that spark today.
That's crazy.
So we can get it going. And right next to me is...
It's your girl, Keela.
Hey, Keela. How are you
Hey.
feeling today?
I got a little anxiety right now, but I'm okay. I'm ready for the conversation. So,
Okay. Anxiety wise. We do
Okay.
this
I don't
all
know.
the time.
I don't know. It's just today, like, ooh.
Ooh.
So this is a good topic. So,
Okay. And this topic makes you anxious.
a little.
Okay. All right. Joining us for another week is Mr. Jordan. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
What's happening, everybody? My name is Jordan. I'm happy to be here.
We happy to have you here, and your eye looks really good. Like I'm glad that thing has cleared up and we can actually see each other. So
Thank you.
yes, sir. And then right next to you, he decided to anoint himself into Adrian's position. And so we're gonna welcome him like we welcome everybody else. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, my name's Isaiah, and I've been going behind that camera for the past couple of weeks, so you never seen me before, but here I am now.
Ooh.
Oh,
I've been here.
Welcome in front of the camera this week.
Yep.
I'm so glad that you're here because we have a lot to talk about. First of all, actually, I'm gonna start with UC Berkeley because there was actually a demonstration on campus, and if I can read this what is it? What did you send me, girl? Talk about it.
Yeah, so on Thursday, when I was off campus, I got text messages from the population of Black students at Berkeley is really small. So we're in a Black at Berkeley group chat. And I got messages from the Black at Berkeley group chat that there was a demonstration surrounding hate speech towards the Black community on Sproul Plaza, which is literally, if you come to Berkeley, like the main entrance where you have to pass by to get to all of your classes. It's right by the student store. It's the main entrance that's on the main cross street. So even if you're like a person who's in public coming to Berkeley or walking past the campus, you would see that. And so there were a lot of different signs with different messages. One of them was, do Black lives really matter? Say no to Black privilege. And it wasn't just about the Black community, it was about some other minorities. One of them was, you're not trans, you're just autistic. So it was a lot of hate speech that was displayed right in front of the campus. And then we got an email from the vice chancellor the next day saying that they don't condemn hate speech or anything like that.
They don't condone hate speech. Right?
Yeah, condone hate speech. It was very interesting, and I couldn't bring myself to go out there, so I went back to my room.
Interesting. So, they will always hide behind the First Amendment, right? In terms of, you have a right to assemble, you have the right to say certain things. The only thing you don't have control over is people's responses to it.
Yeah.
And so just real quickly, I just want to know, does anybody have a definition of Black privilege that they would like to provide? Because I thought privilege actually, you assume that you have a certain power and a right to do certain things based on your background. So can somebody provide for me a definition of Black privilege?
Soul food.
Okay, soul food. Okay, so we have a right to eat soul food or cook it or what?
We got a right to eat it and claim it's ours.
Okay, but I wouldn't call that Black privilege. But Jordan, any idea?
I don't believe that there's a definition.
Because they keep making crap up, right?
Yes.
And this comes from them buffoons who look at when people say white privilege as if they are not protected by laws and policies. They look at that and they say, oh, well, let's flip it on the head, kind of like reverse racism. That isn't a thing. And so I want people to stop playing with me because I get really, really agitated really, really quickly. It's not a thing. Stop making crap up and go deal with your own issues. Yeah. Let's do that. So as we get transition really quickly, so it appears that this group out of Virginia, a right-wing group who basically doesn't have anything better to do with their time, called Parents Defending Education, argued that LAUSD's Black Student Achievement Program violated the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment by providing race-based support. Full stop. Now, I have a lot of opinions on this, but I'm going to kick it to y'all first before I just go on a tangent. In hearing the description of that, what is the first thing that comes to mind, Isaiah?
First thing that comes to mind?
Yeah. You look real surprised that I kicked it to you first.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
I was just thinking, it's like, I saw like the schools that did the restructuring, after they got, after that whole thing like came forth, and it just kind of made me think, what if someone comes after us?
Us who?
BYLP. What if they try to come after us? Like, I don't know. That's weird.
Okay. First of all, don't give nobody no ideas.
My fault.
But we serve all children.
That's right.
We're just specific about Black children, and we're unapologetically specific about Black children.
Yeah.
Keela, what came to mind?
A lot of things. I just, especially like it being 2024 and we're backtracking still, like we can't ever move on. We can't ever be better.
Who's we?
Black people. So.
Okay. Jordan.
I definitely would second that thought. Anytime it's a specific agenda to elevate Black minds, Black youth, Black families, Black communities, it's an issue.
Yeah.
It's always an issue for people, even on, more local levels, for us. I mean, I know Los Angeles is not that far, but just in Sacramento, you might have a campus that has a BSU, and it could be some pushback, from other non-Black folks, making the issue that, well, you guys have a Black student union and only Black kids can come there, so that's my initial thoughts.
Mariah.
My first thoughts is like, why? Like, staying like just another case of stay in your own lane. Like, what is
they don't? Okay, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, that's the message.
That's the message. Fox.
I be feeling like, as far as we come, why more people inside of these organizations don't speak out. Like sometimes when things happen, people inside the organizations look at each other like, what do you think? I think we should just be quiet. Why can't we speak out and to represent ourselves when that happens? These organizations are becoming more bigger and having more fame. And sometimes it's not good to be quiet and think that if I be quiet, it's gonna go away. Stand up and say why we have these things. Why are we have? I understand why we question on the podcast, but why are you leaving it to question? Open your mouth and represent and let them know this is why we having these organizations. This is why we've been doing this. This is why we don't want to connect with your organization. And this is what we're doing for us. Again, it's nothing personal against you. It has everything just to do with us bettering ourselves.
Melissa.
Jordan touched on like the specificity, and that's kind of like what my question is. My first thought was a question: why do people feel so threatened when there's specificity towards Blackness and Black students?
Yeah, I mean, and I think of so you never hear this type of thing with English as a second learner subgroup. You never hear this type of thing when, folks are specific about our Native American brothers and sisters. But for whatever reason, when you slap Black into the title of something, everybody has a problem. My issue remains that there have been a lot of laws created that actually put Black students back. What they did with the Brown versus the Board of Education, hence where we got our name, is they took all the Black teachers out of the mix and bust these Black kids into white areas. And then you see the problem with their discipline statistics that says they are disproportionately disciplined, which means they are not in class to actually get the instructional minutes that they are allotted by law. And then you have jokers who just throw those things out of the air and then just say, well, you can't just focus on Black people. But their laws have been focused on disenfranchising Black people for centuries. So I'm trying to figure out, what is it that we're really talking about? Because when you say that they're going to they're going to commit $130 million, first of all, I need to see the actual budget of the monies that were available throughout the whole district. How much of that is going into the other pots to focus on groups of folks who just got here? Not the folks who've been here, not the folks who've been at the receiving end of the harsh treatment, but you have pots of money dedicated to everybody else. But the kids that need the most resources because they've been the most impacted by the disproportionate policies, the disproportionate discipline due to the policies that were put on books by people who aren't in the classroom in the first place. And then you have all these people running these classrooms that have no experience with children, who see their children as worthy of care, compassion, and concern, and see other children as just things that they need to get rid of. We got to keep it a buck. So then you have this group out of Virginia, who's not from California, by the way. And LAUSD is number 2 in the state for disproportionate discipline of Black children. And so they don't know that stuff, nor do they care, because their white fragility stops them from actually believing that other people may need some things. And because they've always had, and they're afraid of losing the foothold on that control, they want to continue to put other things in play. And I'm not amused. I'm just not. So I'm looking at this. It says LAUSD has chosen to overhaul the BSAP program, which is a Black Student Achievement Program, and the district will now focus on non-racial criteria. Let's talk about that. So they can use all kinds of criteria. So if we take race out of it,
define non-racial material.
I'm about to ask that. What other categories could they put into place? Because I can tell you what they did here in the state of California. They put lowest performing students, right? And then they still found a way to divert those funds away from Black students. So what other categories do you guys think someone could put onto the books that the money would actually funnel to the people who actually need the resources the most? Melissa, I'm gonna go to you because I know you're a deep thinker and I need all of your deepness right now.
I don't think there's any other category you can put it on, because like, as you said, no matter what category they try to generalize, if we're in that category, if Black students are in that category, they're going to try and find a way to make sure that Black students don't get the resources that they need, because they don't want to see Black students succeed. It's not about the categories. It's strictly about Black students. You don't see that with the other resources and programs that there are on campuses for other students who also need help. You don't see that for students who are disabled as much as you see it for Black students. You don't see it for students who are, like you said, English as a second language learners. It's strictly about us being Black. There's no other category you can create that would highlight us being Black students and needing help because of the systems they put in place that put us down as Black students, because it is about race. You can't make it non-racial and then expect it to benefit us, because we're Black there's no other way to put it.
Yeah. Mariah, what do you think? Any other category that would?
I was just gonna kind of piggyback off what she was saying, and we see this across multiple institutions. So when you think of the carceral system, it's the constant like setting us back because the majority of folks in the carceral system are Black, and that's a result of the policies that were put in place that work against us. When you look at the medical industrial complex and Black women giving birth, why are Black women the highest to be dying during birth?
Right.
Why are they not being listened to?
Right.
So I don't
because we don't want to make it race based.
But exactly,
big old dodo
the point.
birds.
It's not dodo birds.
They're big old dodo birds. And this is the thing. So can someone kind of talk to me about the civil rights movement? Why was that a thing, or why do you believe that was a thing? Don't everybody jump at once.
Look how far it took them to get the civil rights movement going.
But why did they do it?
Because we had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have the right to use the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have.
Shout out to Jim Crow.
We didn't have the right to walk down a street that had pavement on it. You get your that word over there.
Yeah.
You didn't have the right to nothing. Black men didn't have the right to sleep with their own woman, but the master could come out back and grab her and rape her up all he wants to. And you better not say nothing but pick that cotton in the morning, and you can wipe her tears when I'm done with her. Those were your rights. That's what civil rights was about. For how long was that going on before somebody was able to stand up? And then,
but could they really stand up?
No, they couldn't. Okay. Just to get the information across, it had to run across like some underground railroad type stuff.
Right.
Just to be able to say, hey, we're going to be meeting up at such and such time. And then before it ever even came to light, how many Black folks were scared before they even stood up to be able to stand up and say, you're right, I do have that right.
Yeah.
Just to read.
Yeah, well, when you're listed as 3/5 of a person in the United States Constitution, certain things come with that. What do you think the civil rights movement was about?
I definitely, everything Fox said, but you said actually the point that I was going to make was, being acknowledged as a human being.
Yeah.
I
remember those signs. I am a man.
Yeah,
right.
And having, being able to have just dignity to exist, and have basic resources, fundamental resources. So, the civil rights movement in connection to what we're talking about now is, students getting, it's almost as if, it's not even as if, the BSAP program that is standing on the shoulders of civil rights.
Correct.
By allocating resources to Black students. So when you take something like that away, what you're saying is F Black students. Yep. F all that civil rights movement, F all that. We still had the power. So that's what I think about that. I think that programs like BSAPs is standing on the shoulders of the civil rights movement. So when you take programs like that away, it's a slap in the face.
Keila, what does it say about the civil rights movement? Why was it a thing?
The civil rights movement was a social movement and campaign from 1954 to 1968 in the United States to abolish, legalize racial segregation, discrimination, and disenfranchisement in the country. The movement had its origins in Reconstruction era during the late 19th century and had its modern roots in the 1940s.
Thank you. So it was put into place to abolish, get rid of.
What we still talking about today.
Legalized segregation. And if you look across many of these districts, you have the haves and the have-nots. They divert resources to the places they want to divert resources to. And that's really based on your taxes, your home taxes. So if you live in a community that has, say, apartments, you're not going to get a lot of the resources because you don't have a lot of homeowners in that particular neighborhood, right? And I find it just rich that this Virginia-based conservative group decided to pick out the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the piece of landmark legislation that prohibited discrimination in public accommodation schools and federally funded programs. However, they had to fight for this stuff to be seen as equal human beings.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to use this. You know why they're allowed to use this? Because they got the grand wizard sitting there as a judge.
Yeah.
Who then gets behind their foolishness and lets them have these and actually submit these complaints that really aren't based in logic nor what's actually reality.
No, it's based in a false context. It perverts the context of what the Civil Rights Act was really meant for.
Correct. And they're getting away with this because actually the thing that they do that a lot of us don't do is read. They don't read the laws. They don't read them to understand them. And they don't read them to learn how to exploit them and to fight this foolishness. Now, one thing I know about school districts, they have attorneys. Mm-hmm. They fight regular families all the time and keep them in litigation for multiple years when they do their students wrong. But for some reason, LAUSD chose not to use their employed attorneys to fight this foolishness because they are number 2 in the state for disproportionate discipline of Black children, which means they don't know how to serve Black children. And this money would actually go into places that could probably help them learn how to serve the population better. Yes, sir. You seem like you're about to jump out of your chair, and I'm not sure what's happening over there.
It tells me that they
get on the mic.
They don't want it either.
No,
LSU,
they didn't even put up a fight
because you didn't even put up a fight. And when we speaking of lawyers and litigation, and we talking about our people, how far have we gotten on the advancement of our people just from regular Black folks standing up in the court system?
Yeah,
these ain't college educated people that learned it. These are people that read out of. I fought my way up out of 27 years of enslavement from reading out of a book.
Yeah,
I know, and I know plenty of other men who have done it. They didn't want to do that. And when you're talking about the word equality, what's so equal if you can represent yours and feed your family, but I can't, and you saying I can't because I'm Black?
Yeah.
What's so wrong about me saying I want to do what I want to do in a Black way? As long as I'm not carrying a weapon up in the wrong establishments, I ain't pointing, I ain't being violent, and I'm handling mine. Mm-hmm. Why do you still have a problem with me? What's wrong with me and mine having an organization and we eating and having fun over here? Is that the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got all kind of smoke for us. Let me tell you.
It's a problem. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, baby.
But I think that's what's so crazy about the whole initiative to eliminate this program is that y'all can keep the guns. Y'all can keep all the BS that we done flushed into your communities. But yeah, we're gonna take these books.
Yeah.
And we can't see Jordan on the camera, and I want them to be able to see Jordan when he's talking. But go ahead, baby.
We're gonna take your mind and take things and programs that will feed you to think beyond the lack of resources that you're already exposed. You already starting with your leg cut off in the communities that we grow up in. And they like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're going to take your other leg too, because we're not even going to allow you to be able to think yourself about this situation.
Exactly. And that's my point. And when you say, what is civil rights? Where did it start from? Where did it come from? What was the basic thing, the main thing that they wanted to make sure we didn't have from the gate? Books.
Yeah.
Education.
Yeah.
We already knew you was off with a leg, but they struggled so hard to keep us away from the Bible literature. Mm-hmm. We don't want you to read nothing. Mm-hmm. And if they found out that you could read, it was a killable offense.
Yeah.
And if you didn't die, it was damn sure an offense for them to pitch you up in front of the rest of them and whoop that up out of you, make you not want to learn another word again, and nobody else here should know it. Yeah. So now this is what you take. Like you said, you can keep the drugs, you can keep the prostitution, you can keep them liquor stores.
Yeah.
We'll keep the gangs over there.
Yeah.
But let us take this education and this community that you're building right here.
For sure.
Let us break that up. Because as long as we break this community up and we don't let y'all gather up in this spot, that's gonna send y'all back over there.
Yeah.
Tevin, do you have this graphic? It says the BSAP tenants. I just want folks to look at that because when you're talking about dedicating $130 million to a specific plan, let me tell you the 5 tenets of this plan: Black families, community partners, and district together as one. Culturally and linguistically responsive pedagogy and curriculum. Now, that means that they will see themselves reflected in the curriculum, and then that it would be cultural and responsive to their needs as students. Yes. Multi-tiered individual student support. Rigorous standards aligned with education. So is that to say they weren't being challenged in the first place? That they were given curriculum that was not at the level it was supposed to be? Like, what are we talking about here? And then Black excellence experience. What does that mean? And why is that a problem? Especially since we're one of the most copied races out there. We set the tone, we set the standard, we have a lot of influence.
Yeah.
What is a Black excellence experience, and why are you afraid of it?
Yeah.
Who are
I think
you to
it's-
define it?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go there. Who are they to define it? And why did this scare LAUSD so much that they threw out this program? I'm confused. And then I think about how many of us are actually in LAUSD leadership positions. Because if they came after any other community in the way that they come after us, it would be a whole problem. But we are constantly having people come in and speak for us, come in and tell us what we're not capable of. However, they never do anything that was it. The one previous to this one, Tevin. They never make sure that our children have the same, not more, have the same educational experience as other children. And the way you do that is by being specific and diverting the resources to who needs it most. I know I asked you guys a minute ago what other categories they can put into place. I have a couple myself. The most disproportionately disciplined subgroup. The subgroup most likely to have our young people identified as emotionally disturbed. Let's stop playing with each other. Because a lot of the school districts, Elk Grove Unified, Folsom Cordova, are significantly disproportionate. That means they have over 4 years where they have been disproportionate in disciplining or identifying Black children as emotionally disturbed because they don't understand them, right? And so we continue to see this foolishness because we have certain people in certain positions that they've learned how to play the game. They know how to say the right language that then goes through the Department of Education. It is not challenged. If I've been significantly disproportionate for a number of years, why my funding hasn't gotten cut? Why do they keep rewarding them for their failures, their systemic failures?
Yeah. Rewarding for failures. And then on top of that, cutting programs like this. You know, why? You're saying that what was the last subgroup that you had gave?
No, most likely to be
emotionally disturbed. That's what you said.
Identified as emotionally disturbed. And they're doing that as early as preschool.
Right. So you're saying, oh well, this community, because really what you're saying is this whole, the Blacks are emotionally disturbed, right? But then programs like this get taken away.
Well, I mean, but what makes us emotionally disturbed? Can they identify what it is that they're looking at?
No.
Because bad behavior does not equal emotional disturbance. Tantrums, which every other child has, does not equal emotionally disturbed. What is the criteria?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Or when they're identifying those kids, what's that one program they had put that one boy in? And we had to come through and say, why is he being identified? What is the criteria? And there were no criteria, Jordan. He was level 2.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what it was called. But it was
they got all these damn programs
it was
that they're putting into place to funnel our kids into, but nothing to resource them.
Yes.
I can't even think of the name of it, but it's in Elk Grove Unified, and he was identified as tier 2 in this particular program. And we asked what the criteria or how does one get siphoned into this group? And they said, oh, well, it could be anything. Well, I mean, that's subjective then.
Yeah. What's anything?
Anything Black. It gotta be, because I sit here and I watch them fund programs.
The ABS program.
Yeah.
Tier 2. And there was no listed criteria. Sorry, go ahead.
They got a list of criteria for all the other things they do. I watched as I
Allegedly.
came. No, okay.
Allegedly.
They got all the Asian hate, money on top of money on top of money. They had
that's true.
all these people they brought in from overseas in different countries. As I watch and I drive, and I've been been fortunate enough to move around the areas. I noticed that the ghettos are still the same. But you can't do anything for these people in these neighborhoods and anything for the blacks. And you say that's what it is. But you bring them over here and you bring them directly to Elk Grove. You bring them directly to the better places of sight. And as I walk around, nice. I'm happy to see you. You know what I mean? You're doing your family's here and you guys are safe. But how do you have all this money for a family who ain't slaved or did anything for this country? But the ones who have been here and they've been slaving and struggling for years on top of years, you have nothing for them but a welfare system.
Yeah. And then you want them to pay that back after a while too.
Yeah.
And we just have to keep it a buck, right? Nobody is saying that other groups should not be resources. We're trying to figure out why the hell we can't get none. And then when we are given something, it's pennies. It's pennies. But yet we have people submitting complaints, and this ain't even a lawsuit yet. It was a complaint, and you cave to a complaint. Answer it. Answer it. Why do you have this program in place? Where's the data? There's no shortage of data. Why didn't they do anything? And I just think that we got too many people punking out in positions of power, and they're okay with that.
Yeah.
And then I looked up too on the on their website, Parents Defending Education, and it says specifically about what we're talking about. So it says that
you can take that tenant plan down, Tevin, huh?
On July 11th, 2024, U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights dismissed the complaint, stating that the school district has revised the criteria for the program from race-based to achievement, school environment survey, and absenteeism based, and has revised the program to state that its resources are available to all students, regardless of race, color, and national origin. So that was the response from the school district.
They changed the criteria of the program.
They changed the criteria to not service only Black students, but to service all students, regardless of race, color, and national origin.
And I want to know what other pots of money those students, all the students, have access to besides this, because there are certain pots of money that Black kids don't have access to. Right? We don't have access to English as a second language. We probably would have had they put Ebonics as a specific language, right? Yeah. But we fought that. So we don't get access to that money. And then when you have groups like they have homeless, right? They have foster care. You never see those groups disaggregated. So you never know how much funding the Black kids are getting in those particular subgroups. And then I know that in some districts, they have a whole Native American branch that services the Native American children. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but why we can't have the same thing without people pulling up lawsuits or complaints? Like, this is foolishness. And then we look at and I'm glad you brought it up, the Stop Asian Hate. They wanted everybody to get on that board, right? They wanted everybody to get on board and to, come along. And our community was one of the first communities out there. Like, yeah, we don't believe in that, right? We don't believe in hating folks, right? But when things like this happen, other communities are silent.
They won't pull up.
They're silent. When we're part of the California versus hate and Stop the Hate programs here in California. We serve as consultants on California versus hate. I said this thing to them in front of them. When you look at the Attorney General's report, it says that hate crimes or hate incidents, not even crimes, because that encapsulates people saying things to them that they don't like, not necessarily violent things that are happening, right? It says that those incidents have gone down against the Asian community, but the Black community remains number one in the state of California to where they are being targeted for hate crimes. And a lot of times those are incidents that violence is part of it. Yet when you ask them about the budget allocation for that, what I got from the budget chair, Mr. Fielding himself, he told me to go talk to the Black Caucus. Now, when we bring up things specifically for the Black community here in California, what we get hit with is a conversation about Prop 209 that says that we can't discriminate based on race and all that other stuff. They don't have the same smoke for other groups. And I'm trying to figure out how they passed a whole budget allocation with over $100 million for what was going on with the Asian community. But they haven't done that for the Black community. And then you had the conversation about reparations that went forth where you had Black caucus members stopping the legislation from moving forward. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs about it. I just know with their full chest, they blocked certain people from bringing the legislation up on the assembly floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to figure out where is the will to make sure Black children have the same type of educational experiences and opportunities that other children have around this country.
You talking about them Black legislative members? Them is what we used to be calling Uncle Toms. They be up there. They ain't got nothing for no Black kids. They be married, they be intertwined and married all in the bed with them. And they not in the disappointing us, in the disappointing them. They're gonna make sure that they keep themselves in line with them. And some of them people, they say all the weirdest stuff to you to try to make you feel like you're a part of them. As soon as you get to talking to them, they get to talking about the civil rights movement and hey, myself, I walked with Martin myself. I don't know who you was back then, but I know who you are right now. You ain't doing nothing for the community, folks. You took that seat in that chair and you ain't done nothing. They don't look back and they not trying to make sure these districts get something. And they only coming around when there's a camera around. But when that camera is gone, that paint is back up on that wall. The gang signs are still on the corner and these children still be suffering. And then you say, why did things go down and the levels got addressed for the Asian hate and it went down? Because they showed up for them.
Yeah.
Let one of us call the police and say, hey man, so-and-so and so-and-so beating their wife next door. When the agents were doing it, they moved them to whole nother communities. They moved them out. They helped them. They brought the moving trust for them. They brought the food for them. You Black and you want that? You got to go downtown to the food bank with the homeless and get you some extra lettuce in a box. They ain't not moving like that for us. And the people that's really in these neighborhoods that know that could speak to what's going on, they're not putting no camera behind them because they know what's going to happen. You put a camera in their face. They're going to tell you the real. They'll say, Senator so-and-so don't do such and such. Reverend so-and-so ain't doing such and such. And all they doing is making sure that they keep their friends on their side okay.
Well, and let's be clear, Reverend such and such can't do specific things, right? Yeah. Because they are limited in what they can do, right? Because of the nature of the 501c3 status. Kind of like we have the same thing. We are limited in what we can do. However, what I'm saying is you had a group of legislators who were of Asian descent come together to pass something specifically for their community. And any other time, we Black folks, we got to think about everybody. We got to take everybody into consideration. Yeah. And, you know, some of the people, the first ones to support that movement were Black legislators. So why can't I, as a Black community, as a Black company here in California, ask about that budget allocation without getting a smart remark from a legislator telling me to go talk to the Black Caucus? I'll talk to them on Tuesday, but I'm talking to you right now. Yeah. And they try to cut me out and take that mic away from me. No. Let's keep it a buck. The data shows we are number one in the state. How y'all get all this money? And they're not going to tell you that the budget chair, he's the budget chair. He makes sure it went through. Because if you don't pass what they want you to pass, they'll hold back all that other legislation until they get what they want. That's the game up at the Capitol, right? And so, again, there ain't nothing wrong with that. More power to them. But if I got to talk to everybody because I'm a Black nonprofit and my responsibility is to make sure I serve all people, specifically mine, right? How come they don't have to talk to everybody? Why I got to go talk to a different legislator when I'm talking to you?
Right.
That's all. I want the same smoke. Yep.
I feel like kind of going off of that, it's like they know that there's a problem. They know that there's something that they're just not doing, and they're just trying to be so roundabout about it.
What's that called?
It's just called
No, there's a word for it.
It's called being a coward.
Nope. There's another word for it.
It's like just
Having all sharpton.
Enlighten us.
It's called actually benign neglect.
benign neglect.
It's an attitude or a policy of ignoring an often delicate or undesirable situation that one is held to be responsible for dealing with.
Exactly.
It's benign neglect.
Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of benign neglect, and you know, and it's just kind of make me feel like they don't want us to succeed because like everyone else here saying that, you know, we start thinking, we start coming together, and we start realizing, hey, wait a minute, this is what's going on, and these are like the groups or like people who are responsible for it, and they don't want us to, you know, come to that sort of like conclusion because they want to always just like kind of like be in the shadows.
And you talking in your real soft voice, and I'm gonna need you to pull that microphone towards you.
My bad.
But I was gonna say too, like I just feel like Black people always have to take 4 extra steps, like all the
Maybe
time,
10.
every time. But you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy how like we got to do all this stuff, and then yet this person just joined, they can go, and they got their problem solved. But
And we got to do that just to make sure we're good, not to like take
Not to
10 steps
flourish.
To be,
but to stay, but to
just
stay.
make sure that we're above water, not to try to one up anybody, just to make sure that we're good.
We always got to go the extra mile.
And then what you were saying also about LAUSD or you said Folsom Cordova or something, and you said it was at least 4 years. That's someone's whole high school career.
Absolutely.
Like, how are you supposed to flourish as an adult? How are you supposed to do all these things without the resources?
You're not.
Right.
You're not.
But that's what I'm saying.
Set up that way.
It's set up that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not.
And yet we still have some of us really achieving despite the roadblocks and the barriers. I mean,
but you got to take them extra steps.
Let's take Melissa for an example.
Oh, yes.
Melissa's mom is in the chat. She took her children out of LAUSD and homeschooled them. Melissa has defied the statistics because she got a full ride to Cal Berkeley.
Let's go.
Shout out.
Congratulations.
You know, and you know, not saying that no one else can do that, but I'm just saying, despite the roadblocks, some of our children are really achieving.
Right.
You achieved. You and I went to public school, right? We're not destitute, right? We're sitting out here. We're putting in work for the community. I didn't grow up in a rich household. I remember actually in my AVID class, the white young folks that they brought in, the college educated ones who were supposed to be helping the AVID team, or I'm sorry, the class, they told me that I would never get into a 4-year university. Now, you're supposed to be championing me, helping me fill out things, and you told me I couldn't do it. So when I got my full ride to Holy Names University, I made sure to throw it in her face, right? I didn't finish at Holy Names, but the point is, you know, despite the roadblocks that are continually being set up, and Melissa, I want you to jump in here because I thought you was going off mute. Despite the many roadblocks that folks keep putting into place, and they're doing that in the public school education system, the fact that they are kicking our kids out in record numbers, we still have children who have dug in and say, I'm going to do it regardless. And that's what they're afraid of. You ain't supposed to be out here. 27 years locked up. You're supposed to keep your ass in jail, in prison, and become another statistic. But yet here you are. Right? You came from a household where your mom, you know, raised you. You're supposed to be a statistic and not out here helping women who have historically been losing their lives to childbirth. Look at how y'all are coming out here and we're still swinging despite it all. Go ahead, Melissa. What do you want to say?
Just that, I mean, echoing what everyone else is saying, they don't want Black people and Black students to have a platform. They don't want us to recognize our greatness and our excellence because we all have it inside of us. But school is where we spend so much of our time that if you stifle that environment, you stifle and you hide the greatness and the excellence that is inside of all students, all children, and specifically all Black students. If you dim down that environment, you also dim down that light inside of students. That's what they want to happen.
You about to have Fox raise you an offering. What you about to say?
Melissa?
Because everything she's saying is so right on point by you taking a program like that, right?
Well, and let's not act like it was being fully implemented in the first place. Because inside these systems, they go get you some African Americans that they comfortable with. They don't go rock with the black folks like me.
True.
Okay.
They be
All
from
right.
way over there.
Let's keep it a buck.
However, it's still a beautiful thing when you can walk into a room just like this right here.
Yeah.
And sit down and feel comfortable and be welcome. Versus there ain't nowhere else where they finna be welcomed at.
Yeah.
Some of them kids, they didn't get taken from a program and offered something of equal or better.
No.
It was worse. Period. You ain't gave them nothing to say that I gave it to everybody. This was set aside because these particular group of children, us, my people, they don't have tutors like that for us.
Yeah.
We didn't have community like that. It was said, hey, you moving on, here's community for you. And other ones that's already there for when I get there. I'm a freshman, I get there, she a senior or he a junior, they bring me in the program. Hey, okay, we make sure you gonna need such and such book. You ain't got a pillow? We got a pillow for you. I got a bike for you. It ain't the best, it ain't a new bike, but you gonna need it to ride around the campus room. Peter ain't finna get that to us.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't finna give it to us. And that's what them type of programs is about. They build another community with each other, and they get to move on as they join the workforce, and they remember their culture, and they carry it on through there. That's taken. And like she said, you take that program from them, you stifle somebody's education that's already stifled from the gate. A lot of them kids in that program, they didn't come from scholars. They paying for their education. And I guarantee you, it's a struggle. That's what it is for most of the black kids in them colleges. So now you taking that from them. What's there for them to be resolved? How many of them is going to make it all the way through college? Are you going to track
without
that?
support?
Are you going to track that and give me the statistic numbers of that?
Mm-hmm.
How many of them going to make it all the way through now because they don't got their partner there to cheer him on and be like, nah, bro, don't give up. Nah, sister, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Them sisters on them campuses and them brothers on they hold each other through track fields and teams. They was knocking on each other's door. Hey, you better get up.
Right.
You know.
We got to do it for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's how we continue to do
everything.
Right. And that's what makes us such a powerful people, because regardless,
we're gonna get it
we
done.
figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
We've had to. That's why we're in such an incredible position, not a rich position, right? We're in an incredible position because when all this stuff hits the fan and all these things that folks are used to getting goes away, there's only going to be one group standing. The first shall be last and the last will be first. You know what I mean? Because we already know what it's like to not have nothing.
That's real.
We already know.
That's right.
And I sent you Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Tevin. If you can put that up, I just want to, because we deal with a lot of dummies who act like they don't understand what the hell is going on. So I just wanted to bring up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Tell me.
This trait right here, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a hierarchy of needs of where the human race belongs at.
Correct.
You can never make it to the top if your basic needs are not being taken care of.
Exactly. That's why I pulled it.
That's what that chart is. And this is a psychology trait. This has been proven. This ain't something that somebody just came up with.
Right. So for the people in the back, we're just gonna go over it real quick because they think that we don't understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. So the very base level is psychological. If I take everything away from you, what do I expect you to do? If I take away resources, if I take away care, compassion, and concern, if I take away love and the ability to connect,
if we traumatize you,
where can we go if the very foundation is not solid?
That part.
It all stops there.
Mm-hmm.
That part.
And then if we go to the second one, safety.
God.
How many of our children feel safe in these environments?
And especially after constantly being reminded that they don't matter, excluding the kids. How many times you have to tell these kids that they don't matter?
Yeah. Yeah. And after COVID, things were a lot worse, right?
And I've been trying not to bring that up.
I'm sorry. It just is what it is. We shut down immediately.
No, not to apologize, nothing to apologize for, but imagine you're taking away programs after COVID.
Yeah.
What? We already a leg down. Coming out of COVID, you have students that if they already couldn't read, they sure as hell can't read now. They sure as hell can't read now. They need a program that says you can be excellent. You can get this. You can read. You're going to read. They need stuff like that. But I was holding on to that point though, just about COVID, because that's a huge reality and a huge picture of this, because more resources should be allocated to all children, but specifically Black children.
Yeah.
You know? Specifically. So
yeah.
anyway, continue.
And the thing is, they could do a Latino achievement program. They can do an Asian achievement program. Nobody said stop at Black kids. Nobody said stop.
Right.
But for some reason, when you see Black on a piece of paper in the title, oh no, we can't let them Negroes go.
I want to say something else about that chart too, man.
Yeah, because we ain't even got to the third level.
Shout out to all the ones who made it past it, because the only flaw in that actual system is there are some people who can make it, and that is us.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been anybody outside of us that has made it. According to the statistics and facts of those charts, if you haven't passed one level at the bottom, you can't get to the next one. And if you're lucky enough to get to the next one, you won't get past it a bit longer than feeling love, because you won't have enough self-esteem to get to any level of cognitive thinking to act in a functional manner.
You better teach somebody something today,
which
sir.
is why which is why they lock you up and keep you locked up, because they prove you have no level of cognitive thinking. But it's never said where was he supposed to learn these things. Instead of them learning it to you, they keep you in a place where you don't get it. So they'll never hit the other top level in the self-actualization, because we've knocked away your culture from you. But those of us who have made it past it, just shout out to everybody in the room and those who have made it past it, because there is people that can make it past it, but we're rare.
Yeah.
We're rare. And when we're rare and you go in there and you ask that question, they don't have the answer to your question. So they hear you. Go talk to the Black Caucus thing, because you've asked a question that's not normally being asked in the room.
Correct.
You ain't supposed to have enough cognitive awareness about yourself, or no self-actualization about yourself, to be able to transcend above here and get in this office and ask me such a question. And since you have, shit.
Now that's a clip bit.
Go talk to your Black Caucus.
Yeah. And I don't want to.
Which they gonna call them before you get there and let them know. Lorene on the way. She tripping.
Right.
Get that one back in line.
Once you see that car pull up,
straight up.
It's busy.
And
get that one back in line.
Because you made it above something that was set in play for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We made it above all that.
Yeah. And what's so insane, if you go around to a lot of these districts and they're talking about, how they're trying to insulate Black children, right? And they get stuck on this belonging level. But they haven't provided safety nor anything psychological, right? The kids can't see themselves reflected in the curriculum, which that Black Student Achievement Program would have done. They don't see themselves reflected in the staff, and not the disciplined staff, but the staff, their teachers. They don't see themselves reflected in that, not just the lunch lady, but their actual teachers who are teaching them a core subject. They're not. And Melissa, I see your mouth. What you saying?
No, I'm agreeing with you 100%, because especially with like the discipline staff, and you don't just need to see a Black principal and a Black vice principal. Like when I went to high school, there was a Black principal and a Black vice principal. We didn't have Black teachers. So there's definitely a disconnect. And it wasn't until we got the one Black teacher that we did have that's when there was a shift and a switch. So I was just really resonating with the fact, like, it doesn't just.
And let's talk about that really quickly. With that one Black teacher you had, wasn't she pushed out?
Oh yeah, she was.
Because when you have Black teachers who are actually making a difference and the children are gravitating towards them and they yield a lot of influence, that environment does not become safe for them. It becomes very toxic. And shout out to, I remember her name, Miss Wells. Shout out to Miss Wells, because she came on our podcast, and shortly after that, she was no longer at that school. And it's because what they do with people who give a damn about children, they get them up out of there, because they have to take away that esteem, that belonging, that love that is needed for children to thrive. Yeah. They have to take that away.
Yeah. And just to add to that point, it's crazy that, like you said, Fox, that through each one, like you were saying, you're not supposed to be able to get to the next step. So imagine that on the basic level, you're supposed to, be healthy, right? So you're supposed to have what you need: water, housing, right?
They said
water,
3 square meals a day,
and food, right? then the safety level, your community that you live in are supposed to be safe. You're supposed to be able to be a kid and go outside and play and run around with other kids, and people look out for you and be like, did you eat? Okay, did y'all make sure y'all wash your hands before y'all ate? Because
Mhm.
it's germs. You know what germs are, right? That's safety, belonging, and love. That's both belonging and
Community.
love.
Yeah.
Then you get to esteem just how you feel about you. I can't even allow you to be like, you could be black and excellent.
Man,
You could be black and excellent. And then we get to the part where you can think. Then we get to cognitive. So you can't think even before you get there. So that's what's crazy to me is that you have
see that?
these four things, and then you get to cognitive ability and being able to think for yourself and being able to, read, write, analyze things, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that's just what's crazy is that there's so many things that come before being able to sit in a desk and learn. Yet we expect kids by the age of, when the kids start school, 6, 7.
6, yeah,
I
about
ain't got
5
no,
or 6.
I ain't got no kids, so I don't know. But
Thank God. Yes.
we expect kids at the age of 7 to go to school and sit there and listen to somebody and learn. And if they're missing any of those, then people are wondering, well, what's wrong with them, or why
No, we just gonna
some-
label them emotionally disturbed, but
Right.
we haven't provided
Right.
what you're saying. We haven't
Right.
provided any of this.
or just asked you, or not even take it. You can't ask a child, but inquired about, okay, well, why does that kid, feel that way or act that way, or
What's going on
how
at
can I?
home?
Yeah, exactly.
And can we stop feeding them foolishness at school?
Please.
No,
please.
literally,
They won't even eat
No,
because of the
please.
food that they're
I don't know
that
who
they're
needs to hear
being.
no. Can we talk about something real quick? Okay,
Yeah,
so
we got 3 minutes. Go.
Okay, so we had a girl today, right? They all had lunch, and we always asked them like, "Oh, so what's for lunch?"
Yeah.
They looked at us dead in our face and was like,
They hate it every time, but
and you know what they had? They had mac and cheese with broccoli. The broccoli was burnt. All 4 pieces
black
was
to
burnt,
a crisp.
like black. Then the mac and cheese only had cheese on top, and it was like long noodles. And you know what they did? Threw it away.
Yeah.
Because
Would
what
you
else you
eat
supposed to do? No, but that's what I'm saying. What are you feeding these kids?
And expecting their brain processes to continue
Okay,
developing in a healthy way. So
yeah.
we could talk about that on that
There's so
episode.
much trash. Like there's so much food in the trash, or I don't even know if it's edible.
No.
But
It's
there's
trash.
so much food in the trash. Every time I'm on campus, I just see them
Yeah.
just going straight to the
Man.
trash.
They got
with
a
their
cart.
trays.
They got a cart to have their items back.
Repurpose.
And
yeah.
everybody just gets through the line and then puts everything back except the milk and maybe carrots or apples.
Or chocolate.
And then the apples be bruised. The carrots be watery
So I'm
in the
wondering
bag.
where they getting this food from.
Man, when they said let's start feeding the kids more healthier, they meant more cheaper. They only do that stuff at the
Yeah.
public schools, because at the other schools, they not doing none of that.
And then on top of that, the kids got Takis. The kids got hot Cheetos.
At
Yeah.
any time
The
of
kids
the
got a
day.
sucker in their mouth. Like, what?
Yeah.
You didn't eat a sandwich today. Now you ate a sucker.
It goes back to, they don't want these kids to think.
At
But-
all.
They don't want these kids to, their bodies to even function normally like how they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Because you give a kid healthy food, that's going to be a healthy kid
Right.
with a healthy mind.
Mhm.
They don't want kids
Mhm.
to function, but bringing it back to black kids, they especially don't want
Mhm.
black kids to be able to function and be able to have the resources that they need to be able to think.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so look, we're running out of time. I got 30 seconds for each of y'all final thoughts. Let me start with Melissa.
I just think we need to do better by Black children stop being threatened by the specificity of Blackness.
Facts.
I agree with Melissa. Only word I'm gonna change: not we. We doing great. These senators, them Al Sharptons, and all start acting right, brother.
Okay. Mariah.
I mean, just personally, I'm gonna keep showing up, doing my part, doing other people's jobs. I don't know who needs to hear that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep showing up and doing what I can do.
I'll make sure these kids achieve the safety off that chart.
Mm-hmm.
Safety. Okay. Isaiah.
What we do on the chart, belonging and love, that's
Mhm.
definitely something we're doing really good at. And
Mhm.
I just need all the other teachers out there, people who don't know how to properly, manage these kids, to learn how to, at least make an effort towards, starting to
Mm-hmm.
help these kids get better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Or get another job.
How about
Period.
that? Jordan.
I want to echo what Ms. Sutton said in the chat. She said educated and flourishing kids lead to Black educated adults. And to take that a step further, healthy adults lead to healthy community, healthy families, and healthy families lead to healthy communities.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I will say, because I have a lot to say and I'm gonna try to do it in 30 seconds, I need LAUSD to stop being punks. If you have a problem with Black students, diverting resources to that subgroup to make sure they are given the same opportunities as other student groups, that's your reasonable service. And we really have to stop hiding behind laws and policies, acting like we weren't given separate but unequal educational facilities in the first place. Stop acting like everybody lives in communities that have homes that they can take taxes from, where they can divert resources to. Like, we have to stop playing this game of being ignorant and notice that we are actually in a whole system of benign neglect. It just is what it is. It has been. And until we can actually admit that, we will not see a change in anything. So with that, I'm going to throw up the peace sign along with my co-host. We will see you next week right here on Black versus the Board of Education. Y'all be cool. And as my sister Tab would say, even if you can't, don't go messing up anybody else's. Keep it cool, y'all. We'll see you next week.